Welcome to Down Payment Session 5. In this session, we are going to speak on how to choose the right real estate agent. Let's dive in. Firstly, before using Google or Yelp or any other resource, I would encourage you to network within your inner circle of friends, family, and figure out if there is a trusted name in your neighborhood or who is someone in the community that has a good reputation. That is going to be your first way to save a ton of time and be able to expedite this process of finding a real estate agent. I don't like shortcuts or easy fixes, but if there is someone who has a reputable name in your inner circle, they are most likely going to be your best bet. So that would be the first encouragement. If there is no one in your immediate circle, that's okay. There's lots of other opportunities. There's plenty of realtors, I promise you. And I say realtor because the National Association for Realtors, if they are a realtor, a real realtor, say that 3 times fast, they are not just a real estate agent, they actually are part of this association where there are different parameters and they pay a fee to be a part of this association. So a lot of times that means they are more legitimate than people who are not real realtors. Thirdly, you want to make sure they have a plethora of experience. And I don't mean just, I've been in business for over 25 years. That doesn't really mean much. Because if they've been in business selling houses in Beverly Hills and you are in Wichita, Kansas, looking for a $50,000 house, they may not have the experience that is going to be useful. So you want to find someone who has specific experience and expertise on the price range, the neighborhood, the local markets, most definitely finding someone that knows exactly what's going on specifically in those specific neighborhoods and where you actually want to live. Because if they don't have experience with what you want or what's in your price range, you may find some difficulties in really connecting and really finding that true best home that you're looking for. My father always told me one thing when I was younger. It doesn't matter how smart or how intelligent you are, it's a matter of who you know, buddy. So I will tell you the same thing. It's a matter of who they know, buddy. So you want to find someone who knows a significant or a very, very good network of trusted other real estate professionals. Not just the people who are going to find the house for you, but there are lots of different people who may be needed in this process. Lenders, perhaps. Contractors, if you plan on remodeling the place. That one alone can save you hundreds or thousands of dollars in the process. Different mortgage people, home inspectors, home insurance agents who are going to help you buy insurance. There is a bunch of different moving parts of this whole situation, and finding a real estate agent who is reputable, obviously, and who has the connections that can help you find those best connections as opposed to you having to go on your own to find them is going to save you time and also will help you find someone who's really legitimate and has been doing this for a little bit and does very, very well with their customers. So finding someone who knows a good amount of networked individuals in the real estate world is going to be super beneficial as well. Finding someone who has an enjoyable and pleasant personality may not be the most important thing, but the reality is you're going to be talking with this person pretty darn often through this whole process. And although they could be the best agent in the area, if they don't have a very good personality that you vibe well with, it's going to make this process not fun. And it's not all fun, I'm not going to lie. But the reality is if you have someone who's really unenjoyable and not a people person, which is so crazy to me, a real estate agent who's not a people person, but they do exist, I promise you. If you find someone like that, I would stray away from that, although they may have great experience. The reality is, though, you're going to be working with this person quite a bit, and you want to find somebody who meshes well with you and your personality. So finding someone who is pleasant, I call it a personable and pleasant personality. Find someone with that. And the people who are not so enjoyable, I would not go with them personally. In the 21st century, transparency is everything. There's no sweeping things under the rug with the advent of social media, our news, media, the whole bit. It's very suspect now when people want to not discuss things. That makes people's ears perk up like little wolves and wonder what's going on. So transparency in everything. I would encourage you to ask these questions before you decide to choose a real estate agent. The first one being, what's your experience? Again, knowing the experience of not just their years of experience, but actually their experience in specifics to the neighborhoods and what you're looking for as a home buyer. What type of buyers do you typically work with? Again, if they're not privy to your situation or have done it before, it may be more difficult. How do you get paid? That's a pretty easy thing. Usually they're paid on commission, but you obviously want to know. Some of them have processing fees and different things you want to definitely keep in mind. How much will it cost to sell your current home? If you're selling your other home, you want to figure out if they're going to help you do that or not, and what their commission and their fees are for that as well. How often are we going to communicate, and how often will you going to be in touch? The reality is some realtors are going to not be as excited or responsive, and going through the process, having someone who is very responsive is going to be super helpful, especially if it's you're buying your first home. Since this is a brand new process, having someone who actually explains why things are happening and doesn't just say, let's go do this, but actually gives an explanation, I think it's going to be beneficial as well. What's your process for helping your clients look for a property to buy? I've heard of some realtors who go to 8 different properties for one client in one day. Now that is some awesome service that I hope to receive at some point. And some will say, here's the list of homes and let's go look at one. So it just depends. Again, their personality is it has to mesh well with yours. So if you're a person who likes to do a lot of online research, then great. If you want to drive by one and that's okay with you, great. However, if you actually want to go inside and feel and understand the true everything about the home, you probably want to find somebody who's going to be very responsive to your requests. Can you provide references or connect me with past clients of yours? This is probably the most important thing. Again, the very beginning of this video I said finding someone who is referred by a close friend or relative or someone nearby in your inner circle. That is why, because having testimonials are the most important thing when it comes to direct selling and one-on-one selling. If they don't have testimonials, I would have about a million red lights and bings come in my head. That's really weird if they don't have testimonials or can't provide you any past clients. If they have a plethora and abundance of that, that is a super good consideration in choosing them as your agent. And lastly, what's your strategy for negotiating offers and counter offers? The likelihood is, you guys, as much as I want to say the first home you ever put an offer on you're going to buy, the reality is when supply is low and demand is high, which it is often, you're probably not going to be accepted on the first house you offer on. And I want you to be prepared for that, first off mentally, because just be okay with that, and emotionally, because I don't want you to fall in love with the first home you find, because the reality is it's most likely not going to be your forever home or your next home. Be okay with having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 homes in your pipeline that you really do enjoy. Having the one is almost like a Cinderella story. It sometimes happens, but it's very unlikely. So how they deal with counteroffers and how they're going to go about that could be the difference between actually winning or not winning the bid. So that's something also to consider. I also, as an aside for the questions I would ask them, I would also ask them, what do they do in the community? Have they lived there personally for a decent amount of time? If someone is not integrated with the community that they're selling houses or buying houses with, it may be a complete disconnect, because when someone is integrated in the community, they almost always have a reputation they want to save. So it's going to keep them far more responsive and far more encouraged to help you along that every step of the way. So, and also a question I would say, how often do you work with first-time home buyers? If this truly is your first home buying experience, if they only deal with investors or people who have 10, 15, 20, 100 properties, it may not be a good fit because they're going to assume you understand a lot of the process. Finding someone who is proficient with first-time home buyers could also be something super helpful in your process as well. However, though, there are some significant deal breakers I'd like you to consider. The first one being, if this person is either a family member or a very close friend. And although it may feel good to support your friends, support your family, the reality is this is sometimes an intensive and stressful process. So, with that being said, if things don't go all smoothly as I want them to go for you, it can damage your relationship or familial relationship or friendship. So with that being said, sometimes choosing a third party outside of your inner circle, having that referral from your inner circle to find someone else, I think, and it can most definitely, mitigate all that friendship or dysfunction or just the breakage of any relationship that would happen if you do it with someone you are very close with. I understand the idea of helping people close to you, but the reality is this is a money transactional process, and sometimes using a third party can be the best step in having unbiased opinions, unbiased everything. Having someone who's unbiased is going to be the best step in any part of finance, but specifically the home buying process. The second one being, if you're dealing with a real estate agent who usually sells $100,000 houses in a not so nice part of the area but does a lot of volume, and you're looking for a $700,000 house in a nice area with nice school districts and nice neighborhoods in general, there may be, again, a disconnect because they know how to sell the $100,000 home very, very great, but the different client that you are with the $700,000 home may mean there's disconnect and there may not be as much rapport or the ability to really help you with the best pricing and figure out what the best neighborhood for you is. So that is also a consideration. Lastly, this is more of a personal thing. But the reality is, if your intuition and your instincts are telling you this is not going to be a good thing interviewing these agents, trust it. Heed to that warning and shake their hand and say, I appreciate you taking your time out of the day, but this is not going to work out. And be done with it. Be truthful, be transparent. Don't lead them on because these people are usually paid on commission, so they're going to want your business. However, if you are transparent and honest with them, if they're a legitimate business person, they will understand that and move on. Now, if your instinct is telling you something, we were given these instincts for a reason. Thousands of years ago, we had to attack saber-toothed tigers and eat them. I know that sounds maybe brutal and, very archaic, but that's the reality. 5,000 years ago, we did that. So these instincts are still within our personhood, still within our body. And when we feel these in different parts of our body, I would say heed that, because a lot of times intuition is correct. They call it women's intuition or mother's intuition now, but we all have it. Males, females, the whole bit. So I tell you, entrust your intuition, and if something does not feel right, abort the situation and move on. I promise you, if you're in any metropolitan area, or any area for that matter, there are usually more than a few willing and capable parties to help you find a home. So move on and find someone who is going to be worthy of your business. And speaking of intuition, my intuition is saying we are finished with session 5. Awesome. You guys keep on rolling. I'm super just blessed by doing this whole series. It's super awesome. I'm learning some more in-depth things about the process, and I hope you are as well. So make sure to comment, subscribe, and like somewhere around here. Ask some questions, create some banter. Session 5 is complete, and now we're going to move on to session 6, which is about how to find the right home for you. Para ti. For you. We're going to help you do that, and stay tuned. It'll be up soon. Have a great rest of your guys' day, and keep the process going.